Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to another Sims 4 news video. This time I'm going over some highlights from the Werewolves livestream that was on Friday, June 10th, and it was hosted by the Sims team. Now, in case you weren't aware, the game pack Sims 4 Werewolves is coming out on June 16th, and it's actually available for pre-order, which is a first for game packs. Usually that's reserved for expansion packs. I'm going to show the Create a Sim going in the background. They showed it in two parts in the live stream. At the beginning, they just showed the generic, here's the clothes and whatnot that came with the pack. I don't know that they showed everything, but I'll show what they showed in the live stream. And then later on, they showed sort of the Create a Sim as it related to the werewolves, which I will also show here. So the majority of assets are gender neutral. So I know there was a little bit of people thought it was all for females, but a lot of it is, as I said, gender neutral. There is some stuff that's just for females. I didn't notice that there was anything that was only for males, but you'll see it running in the background. There are two new cute outfits for toddlers. One is like a one-piece pajama, and the other was just a one-piece little outfit. It was very, very cute. And then they did show something for kids. There were three hairstyles, which were essentially, hairstyles from the adults that were, converted to be able to use for kids. There was a hat and there was an outfit, but I don't know whether there was anything else. They didn't really, show that much with that. So I don't know if that's all there was or if there was more. Now, there is one new aspiration in Create a Sim, which actually has its own new category. But once you complete that aspiration that you can choose in Create a Sim, you unlock 4 other werewolf aspirations. So there's actually 5 in total. And one of the things that they did show was a fuller beard, but that's actually coming to base game with the update that's preceding the Werewolf Pack. Now, moving on a little bit to the Werewolf Create a Sim, the fur and whatnot is very similar to how it works with cats and dogs. You have the ability to do like the stencils and the free drawing and whatnot. So that has a lot of flexibility and essentially the color wheel with respect to the fur, not the hair, the fur for the werewolves themselves. And they showed that a little bit in the live stream. They also said that you can either link or unlink the 2 forms, and you only get the 2 forms once they become teen and up. So if you link them and you change the nose on the one sim, one form versus the other, it'll affect the nose, even though, it's a werewolf form and it looks different. And now your werewolves, you can have them just in their fur or you can put clothes on them. And one thing with the clothes themselves, along with being mostly gender neutral, they had a lot of grungy clothes, which would be great for rags to riches, but then they had some other, nicer clothes, but that is sort of reflecting the 2 packs that come with the game pack, and one is more grungy and likes to fight and stuff, and the other one doesn't so much, from what I could gather from what they showed in the gameplay. But they really focused more on the one that were more grungy and embracing their werewolf lifestyle. So that's kind of just a very brief look at the Create a Sim that came with the pack. Now I'm going to move on to the world that comes with the pack. It has a fun new icon, and the world itself, the neighborhood is pretty big, but there are only 5 lots, which we kind of already knew. And I did see this tweet that I'm showing up on the screen. I got a screenshot of it, but when I went back to look for the link, I couldn't find the link. But you can see here the 5 lots and the sizes of the 5 lots. There is only one empty lot, that's 30 by 30. 2 of the 5 lots are community lots. The 4 lots that were actually built were built by James Turner. So they showed, a few of the lots in the game. And the one community lot is a library and the other one is a bar. But in addition to the 5 lots, you can kind of see that the world itself has or the neighborhood of, it is only one neighborhood, but the world/neighborhood is fairly large. And you can go around and interact in it. So in response to, a comment that the size of the world was disappointing, the fact there was only 5 lots, a tweet by Simguru Nova said that Moonwood Mill is filled with tons of usable areas outside of the lots. Pack Hangouts, which there's 2 packs, so that's 2. Howling Point, underground tunnels, Greg's Shack, sparring grounds, lake, etc. So having fewer lots let them put other things in the world with respect to gameplay. So one thing with the underground tunnels is that they are, underground, but they are rabbit holes. but they have a few different entrances that you can unlock the ability, at least as a werewolf, to go from one to another really quickly once you traverse them. And they're rabbit holes, you get like pop-ups that are very similar to me, it seems similar to when you go on a rocket ship where you have little adventures and you have to answer things. They only showed kind of one and the pop-ups to go with it, and you get choice of what you're going to do. But really, that's what it gave me the feel of. But except for that, instead of coming back like you do with the rocket ship, with the tunnels, you have a chance that you might come out another entrance of the different tunnels because there were a few different spots. But one thing, along with the world, they did show the one little thing that showed the lunar cycles, which is coming to base game with the update this week. And there are also going to be 2 new terrain paints, which they showed when they showed the build stuff very quickly at the end. So lunar cycles affect werewolves and other occults more than regular sims, but regular sims are impacted a bit too, was what I gathered. And kids can ask about the lunar cycles, and also you can customize the lunar cycles, i.e. their length. You can freeze it on one cycle, or you can turn it off completely. Now, with respect to the gameplay, I kind of already touched on like the tunnels, which was part of the gameplay. And we get to see, there was a lot of mention of Greg, who is sort of scary. So we got to see Greg, and Greg doesn't really care that much about non-werewolves that much, but he sort of, lumbers around, and they showed some interaction, which I'll show there on the screen a little bit. And one thing they mentioned when we saw Greg was that werewolves, including Greg, can be seen in other worlds. However, you can disable that under pack settings so that they don't go into the other worlds in their werewolf form. I got the impression that, the Sims themselves could go into the other world, but they wouldn't go in when they were in their werewolf form. Now, they also talked on and showed one of the ways to become a werewolf. So I'll sort of show the one way in the background while I'm talking about this. So one way is you create a new Sim and you make them as a werewolf automatically. So you go under the cults and select create werewolf. So if you have different packs, you'd have to pick the werewolf, but if you only have this pack, it's the only one there. You can have them born in game, and then they mentioned something about having greater blood versus dormant. So I don't really know. So I don't know if that means that there's a chance they might not be fully born a werewolf, or if that's maybe more if you have a werewolf and a non-werewolf, that it's not guaranteed that there'll be a werewolf. They didn't actually go into that in detail. Now, you can also create them in-game. So if you have an existing sim that you want to become a werewolf, this is what we're probably going to be interested in. You can ask a werewolf to turn you into a werewolf if you have a good enough relationship to them, similar to how you can do with vampires. So they would bite you, and then you have to go through the whole process of, being uncomfortable. And with the werewolves, they get very, very hungry, so they have to eat while they're waiting. And then they turn into a werewolf, which I'll show on the screen, or will have shown because I have it running in the background. So the other way is you can get something called Werebees, which is you can get, I gather from like a bite where it wasn't intended, like you didn't ask for it. But also when you go through the tunnels, you might get it too. But if you get Werebees, you can get the cure for it and not become a werewolf. So it's not forced on you to become a werewolf. All it is that you might get sick and you have to get the cure so that you don't become a werewolf. So those are the ways that were mentioned for becoming a werewolf. Now, when you become a werewolf in gameplay, the very first time you're gonna be on, they talked about Fury a lot, and Fury essentially is like a little ball, similar to with the Spellcaster, where it gets higher and higher and higher. I'm not saying it works the same as Spellcaster, but it's a ball, and then when it gets maxed, then you go into this Fury. Your Sims look like they've got red glowing in their eyes and whatnot, and then they kind of go on a rampage, and they can, at that point, they can destroy things and all these different things. And that was one thing where the Sim turned into a werewolf for the first time, and they were like running down the stairs. They would kind of walk in their upright and then go down. It was a bit glitchy going down, especially the corner, like the stairs that were used in this build were like turned like 3 or 4 times, and it looked a little glitchy. But I mean, compared to glitches that we saw in the My Wedding Stories live stream, there were like no glitches. That was the only thing. It was visual, and it didn't stop the Sim from going down the stairs. So that was a visual glitch to me, not an actual glitch that impacts on gameplay. I'll take that. So now, as I sort of mentioned, there are 2 werewolf packs. One is the Moonwood Collective, which Christopher is the leader, and then the other one is the Wild Fangs, where Rory is the leader, and Rory is the sim with the blue hair in the trailer. That is Rory. There's also lots of lore. There's some new books at the library that has the werewolf lore, and werewolves, especially those with certain abilities, can get more from the books, but anyone can read the books and learn some things about the books. And as I mentioned, only teens and up can have that beast form, but toddlers and children can learn to howl, they can get growing pains, toddlers can bite their toy, and children will get excited about beating up their siblings like they are the alpha of the house. I can't say that this is something that really appeals to me, but good for people who really like to play with werewolves. They're probably not really my thing. I'll explore them just to explore them, but that'll probably be it for me. But I like some of the things that came with the pack. So, and as I was mentioning about the Fury, there are certain things that will cause that ball to go up. And werewolves will have what they call temperaments, which there are 22 temperaments. 18 appear naturally and 4 are unique. And I will try and share a tweet that had some information on that. And werewolves also have abilities similar to with, vampires and spellcasters. There are 25 of them that you can buy with points, and they level up, and 6 that are dormant. So I will link to a Sims VIP article where they showed the ones that they were able to see when the Sim Gurus hovered over them in the live stream. I figured they've already done the work. I'll link to that. So if you're interested in seeing more, it doesn't cover them all, it just covers what they were able to see. That's a good source to see what is already known about them. Then the other thing they did show, of course, was a really quick look at the build buy, which of course included that telescope, which we're getting one with base game. So even if you don't get the pack, you'll be able to get the telescope in the update that's coming this week. And a lot of the other things, which are very grungy, and it comes with a bassinet, a toddler bed, and a single bed and a bunk bed. So no double beds. There are other packs that would go with it pretty well, but there's no double beds with this pack per se. Now, one thing to note is if you go into Origin, you can get a look at what is coming with the pack, create a sim and build buy. It obviously doesn't show any debug items, but it also doesn't show everything because it's coming with 3 fences, and I don't remember any of the fences being there when they showed the items coming with the pack. So there are some extra things coming with the pack in build buy for sure that aren't shown on that preview screen on Origin, at least not at this point in time. But that really is sort of the overall highlights from the live stream, and also, like I said, from some of the tweets that I saw after the live stream. The live stream itself was just over an hour, so I tried to be as short as I could, but that's kind of it. Let me know if you're excited for the Werewolf Pack, if you're planning on getting it at release, or if it's something that you're maybe gonna get later when it goes on sale, or it's like a miss for you and that's not something that you're gonna be interested in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Likes and comments are always appreciated, and they really help with the algorithms. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!